Welcome to Everyday Linux User. When you think of the Gnome desktop environment, the last thing you would probably use to describe it is lightweight. When we describe lightweight distros, I have four basic tiers. 1, sub 400 megabytes, is very lightweight. 400 to 1 gigabyte is lightweight. 1 to 2 gigabytes is normal, and then 2 gigabytes plus is heavy. As you can see here, I have Gnome running at 645 megabytes, which puts it firmly in the lightweight category. Today I'm going to show you how I did it. I am going to do this in a virtual machine so you can see the full install process, and I will be using Debian. The virtual machine part isn't really that important. You can install this to a spare computer or use a VirtualBox if you are using Windows. It doesn't matter which virtual machine you are using. This is about installing Gnome and Debian as lightweight as possible. Now the first thing we need to do is install Debian. So to get Debian, head over to debian.org and click on the large download button. Now I'm going to create the virtual machine using Gnome boxes. Simply click create a new virtual machine and choose the downloaded Debian ISO. Search for Debian 13 in the box and select it. This will then default the RAM usage, but you can adjust this and the size of the drive to allocate to Debian. Note that I have also chosen UEFI mode, but this isn't important either. Click create and the Debian installer will start. Choose the graphical install. The first part of the install is standard for all Debian installations. Choose your installation language, select your location and choose your keyboard layout. A little bit of work then goes on in the background. Give your computer a name. It will now ask for a root password, but don't enter one, just click continue. This will enable you to use sudo later on. Enter your name and then a username, and then set up a password and repeat it. You are now at the disk setup stage. I am choosing entire disk because I am in a virtual machine. If you are installing Debian as a sole operating system, then you should choose entire disk as well. For dual booting, follow one of my other guides showing how to dual boot, but this is out of scope for this video. Note if you do choose to install on the entire disk, it will wipe everything on it. Select your drive and then choose all files on one partition and click continue. Click finish partitioning and then change the setting to yes when asked to write changes to disk. Select no when asked to scan for more media and click continue. On the configure the package manager screen, choose the location nearest to you. Then on the list of mirrors, choose the top one. Click continue on the proxy screen as most people won't need this. You can choose whether to participate in supplying stats to the developers. I chose no. Now here is the important bit. Uncheck Gnome and uncheck Debian desktop environment, leaving just standard system utilities checked. Debian will now install itself to your computer, or in my case the virtual machine. When it is finished, click continue to reboot. Log in using your user and password. We are now going to install the basic packages needed to get Gnome up and running. Type sudo apt install, no install recommends, xorg, no, Gnome session, Gnome shell, gdm3. This is all on one line. This installs basic Gnome and the login manager. Enter your password and press Y to continue. We are going to install some other basic packages before rebooting, such as Gnome Terminal, otherwise it will be difficult to install other packages later on. So type sudo apt install, no install recommends, Falcon, Nautilus, Gnome-terminal. This installs the Falcon web browser, the Nautilus file manager and Gnome terminal. Finally, type sudo apt install htop so you can see how much memory your system is using and what processes is running. If you run htop now, you can see how much an idle Debian without a desktop uses, and you can see it hovers around the 200 megabyte mark. Type sudo reboot now to reboot and you will boot into Gnome. Log in to Gnome using your user and password. Because I am in a virtual machine, I need to adjust the resolution as shown here. Now if I run htop again, you can see we are using 504 megabytes of RAM, which is lightweight. This isn't the end of the story because we need to set up other things like audio, network and Bluetooth. The first thing I'm going to do is adjust Falcon though, to default it to go to a specific web page when it first opens. So from the menu I choose Preferences and I change what to do after launch, so that it opens the home page. For this demo I'm going to set it to my YouTube channel. I am also changing the search tool to Google. It's a personal preference. Go to Other, Search Engines Manager, and then select the search tool and set it as default. Click OK and then Apply. Now when I restart Falcon, it defaults to my YouTube channel. Another thing I like is the dock to be visitable at all times and not to have to press a button to get it to appear. So to do this I open a terminal and type sudo apt install gnome-shell-extension-dash-to-dock. I also install the Gnome extension manager as it is much easier to manage extensions graphically. Type sudo apt install --no-install-recommends gnome-shell-extension-prefs. The no install recommends stops it installing or recommending other packages when you're trying to install a package. You can see here when I run the extension manager it can't find my extensions. Rebooting solves this issue. I can now right click and add the apps I use most frequently to the dock. In case you are wondering how the extension factors into performance, you can see here not very much. But we still have no audio, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. We will start with Bluetooth. Open a terminal and type sudo apt install no install recommends Bluetooth blues. Once installed, we need to enable it. So type sudo system control enable Bluetooth. You will see Bluetooth still isn't available, and there are two reasons for this. One, I am using a virtual machine, and therefore I need to give permissions for my virtual machine to use my Bluetooth device. And two, we need to install firmware drivers. So point one is specific to using virtual machines, and I'm going to use something called USB pass-through to get Bluetooth to work. So instead of using Gnome boxes, which is quite basic, I am going to use Virt Manager. I open up Virt Manager and start the machine for Debian. From the virtual machine, I can choose redirect USB device and choose my Bluetooth device. I now need to install the drivers. So if I type LSUSB into a terminal, you can see my Bluetooth card is recognised as a USB device. The firmware you install would depend on your card, but you can probably just install all of them if you have any doubt. In my case, I have a Realtek card, so I'm going to type sudo apt install firmware-realtek. The final commands to get Bluetooth working are as follows. Type sudo modprobe -r btusb, then type sudo modprobe btusb. And then finally type sudo system control restart Bluetooth. And you can see I can now access my Bluetooth devices. Next on the list is Wi-Fi. You will see when I go into Gnome Network, it says network unavailable. By default, in a virtual machine, it will use the network of the host. On physical devices, you will need to have an Ethernet cable. To be able to use the network card of the host on the virtual machine, we have to do some jiggery pokery, and this isn't really part of this tutorial because it is virtual machine specific, but I will show you anyway. So within Virtual Machine Manager, I can go to the machine details and add a hardware PCI device, and I chose my network card. When I start the machine, you will see I get an error, and there are two things I need to do on the host to get this working. One, I need to detach it from the host, and two, I need to change the permissions on the device. So in a terminal on the host, I type lspci -knn type grep -ia3 space net, and you'll see the list of devices, and the numbers on the left of it are the important. So for my Wi-Fi device, you can see it's 03:00.0. So to detach that from my host, what I type is sudo versh no dev -detach PCI _40 and then the number that was on the previous command, so 03:00:0. If I want to get it working on the host again, instead of using no dev -detach, I use no dev -reattach, and that will get that working again. You'll see when I start the machine, I still get an error though. This is where point 2 of changing the permissions is required. You can see it says permission denied on /dev/vfio/16. So within a terminal, I type chmod 666/dev/vfio/16. The virtual machine should now start up again. But you'll see the network is still not working. We need to change the network interface to use Gnome Network Manager. So in a terminal on the virtual machine, I type sudo apt install network-manager space network-manager-gnome. And if we go to the top right corner, you will now see Wi-Fi networks appear, and I can connect to them. Now one final thing we will set up is printing. Open a terminal and type sudo apt install cups system-config-printer. Now type sudo system control enable cups. And finally, we need to give your user permissions. So type sudo usermod -ag lpadmin and then your username. You can see when I restart the print manager, it has already found my printer. So what's the final tally? If I run htop, it's 544 megabytes. Now that is lightweight GNOME. Now we are still missing some key features, so we haven't got a software manager for instance, and that is quite a hefty bit of kit. And that is why GNOME often becomes a beast. You don't need it though, you can use either the apt install command from the terminal, or you can install a lightweight tool such as Synaptic. And if lightweight is the aim and you still want to use Flatpaks, which you probably don't, but if you do, there are lightweight app managers for managing Flatpaks as well, such as Flatpost. But for now, that is the end of the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And I will see you next time on Everyday Linux User.